Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel. Thank you once again for joining us for another update on what's happening regarding justice for Cwecwe. This video in particular, I'd like for us to finish what we started the last time when I gave you guys an update on what was happening with Cwecwe's case. But this time around, I need to continue because I left it, and the last video we couldn't go forward because of fear of the video was gonna be too long. But major events have been happening ever since this article that was released by News 24 came out. Now, on that last update, I did not finish the article, but today I plan on not only finishing the article, but hopefully at the end of this video we can jot together the pieces of information that have been given to us coming from this particular article, as well as Cwecwe's updates, right? She's been updating people on Facebook. She has been giving bits and pieces of information of what's happening in their lives. Now, the last time she was on a live with Cwecwe, she had expressed the fact that they are living somewhere. They've moved from where their home, where they stay, and it was fear of intimidation and all kinds of things. But she said that they're actually living away, and they are literally living away from home, and that is for safety concerns. And of course, we also saw the pictures that were posted on social media about 5 or 6 days ago, where CIC Julius Malema, Commander-in-Chief of the EFF, went and had a personal meeting with Cwecwe, as well as Cwecwe's father. So more on that when it comes to this video, but first let me finish up what was happening with this News 24 article that I was unpacking last week before we went and did another story. So personally, I have become invested in Cwecwe's case because it's showing signs of, one would say, a cover-up. You know, we always use this term when it comes to the Senzo Meyiwa trial, but little did I know that there were more cases to come in the future where it almost resembles the same symptoms, where you find that people that are seeking justice, and especially where the victim is concerned, their families or members of their family are being ignored when they're raising certain questions, and they honestly want an investigation to be done. And then you see the powers that be kind of give them the runaround, and you know making it seem like they are lying or that they are over exaggerating when they're giving their side of the story. This is a sense that I'm getting. Of course, there's another person who's coming up with a different theory over there on that other TikTok app, and they seem to be under the impression that Cwecwe is making all of these things up to garner sympathy. I don't know what sane woman would wake up in the morning and decide to have a whole country invoked and fake something. Have a whole country, I'm talking the whole country, react to something that she made up. I don't know. It just seems too far-fetched for me that she would have made all of this up. For now, I choose to believe the victim until I am shown otherwise. And in this instance, I'm just going to detail some of the concerning things regarding Cwecwe's case. So the first part, I'll be talking about all the people that the school principal seem to have created an impression that he might be suing, unless if they apologize or he just wants them to apologize. I don't know what it may be, but according to me and my opinion, I feel like he's preparing to sue these individuals and he wants an apology from them. And unless if he gets an apology from them, he's going to sue them. That's the impression and the opinion that I'm going to formulate with regards to this. Now, taking back from the last story that we covered, it is unclear at this point whether Mkunu's apology, Senzo Mkunu, the Minister of Police, who apologized to the school principal for saying that he was one of the suspects in the incident of Cwecwe. Now, it is uncertain whether that apology will stem the tide of social media harassment and threats and abuse that Peterse and his family have faced since the mother of the 7-year-old Bergview pupil went public with her accusations that police and school authorities had failed to properly investigate and address what had happened to her daughter. Of course, News 24 is deciding to use this thing, calling it a social media threats and tides. So from the previous video, we got information that Mr. Peterse had claimed that he was getting death threats from people on social media, and he's also had to go and fly to or run to a place of safety. He said that he also is displaced with his family. Even his wife's guest house business is affected, and they cannot live where they lived or in their previous home before for fear of these death threats that he's been receiving allegedly, right? So already we are getting a sense that justice may not quite be received, or we might not get it in a manner that we hope for as the people that are believing Cwecwe's mother, or are believing that Cwecwe was violated. Because another story that we had received was that of creating an impression that the incident did not even happen at all. Now, I will address that on the next video, because I really feel like this thing, we need to unpack it stage by stage. We can't just rush it, because if we rush it, a lot of things will get lost in translation. And I'm trying to unpack it in a way that a person like me, before I started doing my research, would not understand what is going on. That's what I'm trying to do. So for now, we're going to cover this aspect of this incidents that have been happening, and also this sense that lawsuits may be coming to certain individuals for insisting that the principal was the one who is a suspect in the violation of Cwecwe. And now we are also getting a sense that some people are trying to create the impression that the incident did not take place at all, right? So that's what we are trying to unpack, and it's gonna take quite some time, but it's important that we understand the details from both sides of the story and what is happening, so that it can help us make our minds up better, and not what's the word that I'm looking for, not impose or cast aspersions to wrong individuals. But right now, let us focus on what News 24 had said previously. I think it's about 2 weeks back. So News 24 insisted that the principal was not on the school premises at the time Cwecwe's mother said her child was violated. And I remember asking a question of whether do we believe the school principal based on what exactly? Did the investigating officer get it from him? Did he get a proper alibi? Did he get real proper alibi that indeed the school principal was nowhere near the school when the incident is said to have taken place on Cwecwe? That is the question that I had. Did he just take his word for it when he said he was not there? Or did he have something to show? Is it an alibi, something, anything to show that indeed around those times he says that Cwecwe's mother is saying the incident happened at the school, he was not at the school. Was he indeed not there? Or did he prove to the investigating officer who asked him this question that he was not there? How exactly was he exonerated is something that we are yet to find out. I'm not expecting that information to be shared to us just because we're asking for it as social media right now. But I know that should this case move forward, we'll probably find out how the investigating officer, if they did exonerate him, how did they exonerate him? right? Now, they're also saying that threats intensified after Pieterse declined to provide a DNA sample to the police because the investigating officer had told him that this was SAPS procedure, but it was a request from the mother. So the principal denied taking the DNA because the request came from the mother. He did not feel obligated to adhere to Cwecwe's mother's request. So that is how we found out the information that he was exonerated. So he was saying that, not per se that he was exonerated, but the reason why he didn't want to give away his DNA, it was because he is saying that he found out, the investigating officer asked for his DNA, and when he asked the investigating officer why he wanted his DNA, he later found out, right? So we're not going to say that the investigating officer is the one that told him that Cwecwe's mother is the one requesting the DNA. He's saying that he later found out. As to how he found out, we don't know, right? We don't know how he found out later. Did he find out from somebody who's in the department or somebody who's working with the investigating officer? Where did he find out that Cwecwe's mother is the one who made the request for his DNA samples to be taken? That is the question now we are left with. I had to ponder upon these words. I had to take them in step by step so that I don't make a mistake. Okay, for all I know, I cannot afford any lawsuits, but I have questions, and I'm approaching the situation with questions because they are very pertinent questions that a lot of us have, and most of us are being told to stay away from this. Nowhere, but I don't think liphelele any nowhere. I feel like there's still gonna be a continuation. People who want justice for Cwecwe are going to continue to investigate. That's what I believe, and I refuse to believe otherwise for now, right? Because there are so many questions. Me, as a member of the public, as a person who got taken by this story, I have so many questions just by looking at the information that I'm being given. So I can only imagine and wonder what is happening to the people who are really seeking justice for Cwecwe. The investigating officer said to the principal, this is a procedure. It's just a procedure. But later on, he finds out that the request came from Cwecwe's mother. So how did he find that out if the investigating police officer had told him that this is a procedure? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the question that I'm asking myself looking at this, is what lengths did the school principal actually go to try and find out what is happening with Cwecwe's case? And when he went and found out, was it in respect to him finding a way he can refuse for his DNA samples to be taken, or was it in a way of wanting also to find out if anything happened at the school to Cwecwe out of curiosity? Was the concern Cwecwe or was the concern himself? And how did he find out? From who did he find out that Cwecwe's mother is the one who made the request? Because the investigating officer certainly did not tell him that, right? So the principal said that he was willing to cooperate with any official requests and explained that he would first get legal advice and then let him know. So that is how we come to know of how now legal matters or legal practitioners got involved in defending the honor of the principal. Now we see where it's coming from. So he first let them know that he's willing to cooperate, but he doesn't cooperate. It doesn't give away his DNA. It doesn't have an explanation for what happened to Cwecwe. I don't know if he gave the investigating officer an explanation as to the time period that was being inquired of him, that is when the driver was late to pick up Cwecwe. I don't know whether he gave the investigating officer any information regarding that, but he is saying that he was willing to cooperate with any official requests that were being asked of him. And he explained that he would first get legal advice and then let him know. So instead of cooperating, he said, let me first go get legal advice. So they need to get legal advice first before actually cooperating. So that is well within his rights. I mean, a lot of people do that. If they speak with the police officers, they would like to get legal advice first. But you only get legal advice if you feel like you are going to get arrested or if you feel like you are being accused of something. So that is how the principal, I would assume, felt at the time that he was going and seeking legal advice. He had already gotten the feeling that he was being accused of something, and that is solely my opinion. So it had already been reported that the police are saying that they have confirmed that no foreign DNA was found on the child or her clothing. Now this is where now I have a problem, because Cwecwe's mother is saying otherwise. On the other hand, Cwecwe's mother made a post on Facebook, and she was asking a very pertinent question. She was asking, where are the pens that she gave the investigators that had blood on them? Not only the pens, but she was saying that a piece of cloth where the blood was has been cut out from the pens. So the pens were returned to her with that piece cut out. And I remember in the last live that we did, not live but video that we recorded regarding the case, we were asking, is it procedural to have your DNA sampled clothing be given back to you before trial even starts or before a full investigation is done and completed? But later on, I found out that actually maybe they gave it back because the NPA said that it would not prosecute Cwecwe's case. And by the way, that's the reason why it led to Cwecwe's mother going to social media. A lot of people are under the impression that Cwecwe's mother is doing it for attention or whatnot, but they had actually dismissed Cwecwe's case and said that they didn't have enough evidence for the case to go to trial, which is why she went on the podcast, right? That's my opinion, based on looking at all the information that I have been receiving. So they are saying that as a result of the school principal asking police for his DNA, several high-profile political leaders, including Eastern Cape MEC Fundile Gade, contended that he had something to hide and fueled speculation that he was the main suspect. Now, this is what I remember seeing, and that's what also got me when the MEC of Eastern Cape went onto a TV news network and actually expressed his concerns regarding Cwecwe's case. And they are blaming him, or the school principal and AfriForum are blaming him for fueling the speculation that the school principal was the main suspect. Okay?
Yes, we were given a report by the Office of the Chief Director for the Cluster A at the end of the last year, 2024, around the case of Bergview College in Matatiele. So we conducted our own internal investigations in that regard, but we could see that there is a bit of reliance, resistance in terms of the affected parties to come into the law enforcement agencies. And therefore, the implications are quite dire, because remember, the regulation also requires us that schools must be safer places. So you can't have a school that is marked into a rape case in the manner that it was. So we had to either find an alternative way out to complement the justice cluster in ensuring that we respond to the call of duty. And hence we have to apply our mind in deregistering the institution on the basis that the safety of the kids is not guaranteed as per the regulation of independent and private schools as enshrined in the Eastern Cape Department of Education policy framework.
All right, MEC, let me interrupt you still on that point, because when you say it'll be interesting what their argument is, the statement here I have from the Board of Trustees, it seems to go to the heart of the matter as to what it is they are arguing. And they are saying, I quote, the MEC has further taken to the media and stated that the reason given for the closure of the school is that the principal has not submitted himself for DNA testing in this tragic matter where a minor child is alleged to have been in the Matatiele community. The principal, according to the South African Police Service, is not a suspect in the case of and is not connected with such a matter in any way.
Oli and the viewers, that's a misrepresentation of facts. The principal is one of the suspects that should have been submitted long time ago. Remember, you have got the driver and also the caretaker that was part of the tree that should have been submitted, and therefore the two has been able to do so. What happened, Toli? When this one has to go to the DNA test, he quickly ran to his own lawyers as a means of running away from the call from the investigations that have been done. So that's a misrepresentation of fact that the SAP records does not cite him as one of the suspects that has to be undergoing the DNA test.
Regarding the principal, have you gotten any clear indication from the police in the Eastern Cape that the principal is a suspect? Because there does appear to be frustration. The United Democratic Movement in that province is demanding urgent action from the police regarding this matter. So do you know whether the principal is indeed a suspect in this matter?
Yes, Toli. The principal is a suspect there. But above that, the principal deliberately not reported the case of this kid for almost a month and a half when it happened, up until the state organs get the information via the parent of this particular kid. So that was very much irresponsible of him to try to hide in the best interest of defending the brand of the institution at the expense of the lives of those kids. So that's why I'm then saying my serious concern is the safe of the ones that have not been reported to be in the school, more than the one that has been because even on our own investigation, there seems to be so much that the law enforcement agencies are going to reveal about his conduct, even in the previous years. If you look very closely in terms of the ones that are affected around that particular school. So that's why I'm saying it's a misrepresentation of fact, trying to put the integrity of the institution at the expense of the victims of gender-based violence and femicide, which is a no in terms of the basic education that we have and regulations that we have in the country.
MEC Gade, those are very strong allegations. Are you suggesting that the principal may be linked to more than one allegation, or if you are putting it, that he is indeed a suspect?
Yes, he is a suspect, and the police are busy working on that. And the brief I had is that during the course of the week, there is going to be a senior prosecutor to see whether the case can be proceeding within the ambit of the law and also within the space of the holidays. Because remember, we can't close a school in perpetuity, because there are those kids that are part of the schooling system there, which equally must be defended. So the urgency of the matter is paramount, so that he can be absolved from this particular saga, and that will need his cooperation, not the tactics that he's trying to do.
I'm going to ask you one more time, MEC Gade, as to where your information is coming from that the principal is a suspect. And I'll tell you why I'm once again putting it to you this way. A few hours ago, my colleague interviewed the mother of this child, who expressed her own frustration with the police and how the police have treated her in relation to her child having been allegedly raped. How can you be so sure that it is the same police who have now assured you that the principal is a suspect? And if so, you're confident that he will be appearing in court soon?
In terms of the internal processes, remember, these are three institutions. Is Education, Department of Justice, and also Department of Safety. From us internally, we've got our own investigations that we conducted sometime last year that I'm referring you to. But because of the criminal component of the matter, it has to be referred to the departments that are constitutionally mandated to do so. So from where we are seated, the matter is seriously under investigation, and the matter is going to be heard during the course of the week.
The MEC even suggested, without any basis, that Pieterse may be linked to other alleged SA cases. Now, I'm not shocked by this because there's also a recording of a woman that I saw on social media that was speaking about how there have been other cases, but for fear of her being, fear of her being persecuted, I will not be sharing that footage. But I'm sure some of you have seen it, right? I'm sure you've seen that footage of that woman who was saying that there have been other cases where it was said that the school principal was alleged to have done something, allegedly, of course. But the MEC, in my opinion, when he made those utterances that he made, it was purely based on maybe, just maybe, there may have been other cases that the school principal is linked to. And maybe that would explain why he refused with his DNA. And this is pure speculation coming from me. I'm not saying it is a matter of fact. I'm just saying it as something that we all need to think about. We all need to process that. You know, the caretaker didn't refuse with their DNA. This driver did not refuse with their DNA. But the school principal, on the other hand, it's just simple. He could have exonerated himself if only he just gave the DNA. But he decided to go and recruit AfriForum instead of doing that simple thing, if indeed he was innocent. So now we are left wondering now. We are left with so many questions. We're not saying that he did it. We're just wondering about the behavior and what is happening. Why couldn't he just simply exonerate himself and just give away his DNA? But some people are speculating that perhaps it's because maybe the MEC was onto something when he said that he may have been linked to other cases. And that's just pure speculation, of course. Now, another person who also stands if Mr. Pieterse, the school principal, decides to go ahead with this lawsuits that, in my opinion, I'm thinking he's garnering for. Mr. Fikile Mbalula also found himself making utterances at the time that this case of Cwecwe broke out. And speaking on behalf of the ANC, Secretary General Fikile Mbalula condemned AfriForum's legal assistance of Principal Pieterse as disgraceful and said it shielded suspects rather than standing for justice. Fikile Mbalula said that you see, when a person is sick and force themselves on a 7-year-old, it is not a question of consciousness that you need to convert this person. It is an animal. There's nothing you can do about that. It's it is not a person who can force themselves on a 7-year-old, right? There's nothing you can do about a person who can force themselves on a 7-year-old. That's not a human being, he said at the time.
We are outraged and deeply saddened by the brutal violation of a 7-year-old child at Cwecwe College in Matatiele. This abhorrent crime underscores the relentless scourge of GBV that continues to plague our nation. It is a moral indictment on our society that predators still find refuge in institutions meant to safeguard children. Even more disgraceful is the involvement of organizations like AfriForum, who shield suspects rather than standing for justice. In moments of such horror, there is no race, no politics, only humanity, Ubuntu. We demand the arrest and prosecution of all involved and call on the police for swift, thorough action. Enough is enough. We will not rest until every woman and child in South Africa is safe from such despicable acts. And we are very happy that South Africa, black and white, have stood together in denouncing and this callous act. We call on all ANC structures led by the ANC Women's League, including all progressive organs of civil society, to intensify and sustain the support for 7-year-old Cwecwe.
Now, this to me also made me ask another question. I mean, I don't understand how the principal caught feelings and caught strays if he maintains that he was not a suspect to begin with. That is the part that I don't understand. I would get it if he was uttering those things and the principal viewed himself as a suspect or was told that he's a suspect. But according to his version, Mr. Peters said that he was never a suspect. So how did he catch feelings from all of this? I don't know. I don't understand. Perhaps some of you can help me make sense of it. And now he continued to say, Fikile Mbalula, that that's why we say AfriForum goes and defends such people. Animals, you know, forcing yourself on a 7-year-old. And I mean, that is even beyond animals. I don't know. It's cannibalism. So much people, the law must be harsh on them.
Then understand. The Constitution and the laws of the country have been strengthened. Now, if you get arrested and you are accused of you are not entitled to bail. I think that's what is important. Whether we can do something even more beyond that, I think it is possible to do that. Where will women and our kids be safe? When they go to the crèche, your child can. When they go to school, they are exposed and all of that. So these animals, the law must grind. So we fully agree with that. And it's important that we need to deal with them harshly in terms of the law. You see, when a person is sick, a 7-year-old, it's not a question of consciousness that you need to convert this person. It's an animal. There's nothing you can do about that. It's not a person who can a 7-year-old. That's not a human being. And that's why we say AfriForum goes and defend such people. Animals, you know, 7-year-old. I mean, that is even beyond animals. I don't know. It's cannibalism. So such people the law must be harsh on them.
Now, another person that found themselves to be in a predicament, and I'm quite surprised that News 24 didn't mention this individual, is of course CIC, the president of the EFF, the commander-in-chief, Mr. Julius Malema. Now, he made his own opinions based on what the information he had initially received when it came to Cwecwe's case. And I'm quite shocked that he was not challenged by AfriForum per se. You know, he was not asked or maybe made to feel like a lawsuit might be coming. But what has been interesting that has developed over the last couple of days is that he went and visited Umama Cwecwe. Now, on his visit to see Mama Cwecwe and Ubaba Cwecwe, there's a statement that the EFF released, and I'm going to briefly go through that statement with you guys. Now, this happened on the 5th of May. That was at the beginning of this month. The EFF President, Commander-in-Chief Julius Malema met with Cwecwe's parents, Thandekile Mchizana and Mlungiseleli Mchizana, to express unwavering solidarity and support. The EFF stands firmly with Cwecwe and her family in their courageous pursuit of justice. What happened to Cwecwe is not only a personal tragedy, it is a reflection of a system that continues to fail our most vulnerable. The EFF will not rest until every individual responsible for the barbaric and inhumane act is held accountable. We will ensure that the state institutions which neglected their duty to protect this child are exposed and confronted for their complicity through silence and inaction. So that sounds like a promising statement. That sounds like justice will be served. And knowing Julius Malema, this is probably will not going to go away or turn out in the way perhaps that some people were hoping for. Investigations are certainly being conducted, and that would explain why it's so quiet all of a sudden. I am quite surprised and rather shocked why Julius Malema, Mr. Peterse, and AfriForum there did not mention him, because he also from the very beginning had his own piece to share with regards to Cwecwe and seeking justice for Cwecwe. Or is it because maybe he didn't implicate the principal like that? I don't know. I'll probably look for the footage to see if I remember things correctly.
You are going to jail. Even that principal who is being handled differently compared to other suspects. The principal that Cwecwe must know that we are coming for him, we are going to arrest him, and we are going to arrest all those who are being our children. How do you rape a 7-year-old child if you are normal in your head? How did you even qualify to be a principal for that matter? Because it means it is not for the first time he's doing what he did to this little girl. Fighters, we call upon all those victims of that principal to come out. If they were scared, they must now come out so that he can be exposed. Everybody must know he's not good to work with children. We want that list to be published. Because when we listen to the minister, they say no, they are looking at the issues of privacy. What privacy are you talking about? The day that is the day he gave away his own privacy. Because the court is a public court. The name is already public. We just don't know where to find it. That's why we are saying put it on the website so that this person can be known all over the world. When they Google your name, it must just say
Mkunu's statement now demonstrates that these highly incendiary, intending to stir up conflict statements were not based on any real evidence, but it remains unclear whether the politicians who targeted Pieterse will now apologize. So I don't know if they are going to apologize. So far, since Mkunu is the only one who has apologized. Now, the previous legal advisor before Gerinel came into the scene. Bateman told News 24 that despite being vilified, AfriForum's private prosecution unit remains undeterred. The previous legal advisor before Gerinel came into the scene, Bateman, this is the lawyer that represented the school principal. He's the one who made all the media statements before Gerinel came into the picture. And now he was being told that despite being vilified, AfriForum's private prosecution unit remains undeterred in its objective to ensure that justice is served without fear, favor, or prejudice. He added that this apology and vindication has only strengthened their resolve to stand firm in the face of social media disinformation. So they are saying that whatever has been happening, the updates we've been getting from the source, Cwecwe's mother, is nothing but social media disinformation. So in a previous presentation to Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Police, SAPS revealed that the investigation into Cwecwe's case had been delayed because the child's mother was refusing to let her see a forensic social worker. Cwecwe's mother said that Cwecwe had been ill at the time that they were requesting for her and Cwecwe to come and see this forensic social worker. And she said that when the weather gets cold, Cwecwe does not feel well as a result of what happened to her. So she must just jump with an ill child or a sickly child and go and do something that was already done, by the way. This whole thing of speaking to a not even a psychologist, forensic social worker had been done before the NPA decided that there was not enough evidence to prosecute or to go forward with the case. Now, they had spoken, they had gone through this process already, right? So they are saying that now they want them to do it again, right? And Cwecwe's mother, at the time that they were making this request, Cwecwe was not feeling well. I remember seeing her updates on social media saying that Cwecwe was crying because of isinye. You know, her lower abdomen was in pain. And it was so bad that ultimately she ended up getting admitted to the hospital. Cwecwe's mother made an update on her Facebook page, and she was letting the public know that she's in hospital. Now, on the 30th of April, Umama Cwecwe posted and said, "Chu, ukungena theater nosana lwam la mazansi esisu abhlungu kude kwabe siyongena theater namhlanje." And then the translation here, "Going to theater with my baby, the bottom part of her stomach hurts till we get into theater today." So why would she make this up? And then she posted a picture of herself and it looks like she's in the pediatric ICU unit. Why would she make all of these things up for people that are saying that she's making things up? Why would she make such things up? And I'm sure if she was lying about this incident, she has receipts. Like there's a hospital file that can speak to whether she was telling the truth or not, right? There's details. Someone doesn't just go to theater. If Cwecwe has gone to theater, there's evidence to that effect. So I don't understand all these people that are out there making such accusations, saying that she's making all these things up. For now, I choose to believe that she's not making anything up. Okay, I will go with what she's saying for now, because I truly believe that she's seeking justice for her child. Another question I also have is, why should they go through this process again when there's already a detailed report from a social worker in the previous matter? Why should Cwecwe's mother, and she even said it on the live she had with Piwe, I think, where she was asking, why must they go through that again? Cwecwe's mother said on this live that the process had already taken place and a report was made. She said Cwecwe spoke to the social workers last year. Why does she need to speak to them again? For what reason? Unless it's to try, in my opinion, to try and find contradictions with what was initially said or reported, or unless if they're trying to scrap the initial report totally and start a new one. But then what happens to the person who initially did the first report? What happens? What are the consequences for a social worker who failed to do their job properly if they failed? That's if they failed. This to me is speculation, of course, and it's just questions that I have, that will there be any consequences if there is any, and it finds, or unless if you're looking for a different version of the story from Cwecwe. If you're looking for her to say something different to what her mother is saying, then maybe you would insist that they go see the social worker again. And will they see the same social worker, or will they see a different one? Those are some of the questions that I have. And this is just me speculating, of course. And what's wrong? What's wrong with the first report of the social worker that was taken last year? What is wrong with it? That is another question I also had a couple of weeks back. But hopefully at the end of this journey that I'm about to go on with you guys, at the end of it, it makes sense. And I'm trying not to make these videos too long, because I honestly feel like we should unpack this as slowly as possible so that we don't get any confusion. Because right now, justice for Cwecwe has gone quiet. It has gone silent. It has disappeared off of social media. People are afraid of speaking on it, and people are afraid of speaking about it, because now doubt has been inserted to say that no, Cwecwe's mother is crazy. Cwecwe's mother is making all of these things up. So people don't know what to believe anymore with regards to the story. And regarding how the state is behaving and how it's acting and how they are coming up with different versions of what happened, how they are saying the report says this while Cwecwe's mother says that and another person says this. Everybody is just saying whatever they want to say with regards to this case. No, there's no form of sitting together, finding out the facts, actually investigating that is going on. Or maybe it is currently taking place, but back then, I would say 4 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, we were not getting that impression. And because of that, we have decided to sit and wait. As we sit and wait, we need to put the dots together for ourselves and begin to understand, why are we in this moment of doubt, and why are we consuming content from people that are trying to contradict what happened to Cwecwe. We are unpacking it slowly. We are going to be unpacking it. I'm still going to shoot more videos, right? But for now, I think I should stop here, and I will continue with another part at the later stage. But so far, we've got two people that I feel the principal will be suing. That is the MEC for Education in the Eastern Cape, as well as the Secretary General, Mr. Fikile Mbalula. I'll be back with part 2. But for me, guys, it's a thank you for now. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for all your love and support. I will be back with another update. It's just that now I just wanted us to dissect this part of information for now. But I will be back with another part where I explain what happened with the initial social worker and some of the steps that need to be taken moving forward with regards to this case. From me, it's a bye for now, and hopefully you enjoyed this video, you guys, and you give me a thumbs up, and also subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Yes, until the next one, you guys, it's a bye from me for now.